This summer, serve up the Cookout Classics, Heinz Ketchup, and Kraft Singles. Every good burger needs a layer of perfectly melty cheese and thick, rich ketchup. We all know it's not a cookout without Heinz and Kraft.
If we knew more about our sleep, what would we do differently? Would we go to bed at a consistent time or take steps to reduce interruptions to our sleep? With Sleep Score, Apple Watch measures your bedtime consistency, interruptions, and sleep duration. Then, every morning it combines these factors into an easy-to-understand score from 1 to 100. So you'll know how to take the quality of your sleep from okay to very high. Know your sleep score with Apple Watch. iPhone 11 or later required.
Doug Brady, be Doug Brady. Fred G, be Fred G. Don't try to be Rhonda Monetary Malley or people see through that. Everybody goes, look at him, he's trying. That's not even who he is. And then once that happens, you don't have trust factors between player and coach. Because people say, oh, this guy's just a phony. He puts on a show out there. He's trying to be so-and-so.
Welcome to Football IQ on the Coaching Coordinator Network. This series is about a part of football that matters as much as anything we do as coaches, and that's football IQ. We spend a lot of time talking about scheme, technique, drills, and game plans, but at the end of the day, the players who separate themselves and the teams that play the fastest are usually the ones that understand the game at a deeper level. They can recognize structure, process information, anticipate what is coming, and make better decisions in real time. That's becoming harder to teach. Players today see a lot of football, but they often see it in clips, highlights, and short segments on social media. They're watching plays, but not always learning the game in full context. That's why we wanted to build this series. With Football IQ, presented by American Football IQ, we're going to talk with coaches and teachers of the game about how they develop smarter players, how they train recognition and decision-making, and how they help athletes truly understand what they're seeing. If you want to help your players see the game more clearly and play with more confidence, check out our partner, American Football IQ. They're building tools and resources that help players, coaches, and parents grow their understanding of the game. The link is in the show notes. Let's get into today's episode.
Have you ever rearranged your furniture and discovered the carpet underneath looks brand new while the rest of it looks, well, not so new? It's time for a carpet upgrade. At the Home Depot, we have stylish choices at simple prices from all the top brands. Best of all, we can install it for you, starting at only 49 cents per square foot. So all you have to do is pick your perfect floor. Start your carpet project today at the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Exclusions apply for licenses. See homedepot.com/license numbers.
Welcome to Football IQ on the Coaching Coordinator Network. Football IQ isn't just plays, it's anticipating defenses on offense, reading routes as a defender, spotting stunts or blitzes before they land. When everyone's fast and strong, the sharpest mind on either side of the ball wins. That's what we're exploring today with a true master. Joining us is Fred Guidici, special teams analyst at San Jose State University and a longtime Spartans legend. A 1989 San Jose State graduate, Coach G has over 30 years of experience across college and pro football. He's returned to San Jose State for a third time, previously serving as special teams coordinator and analyst. He's also coached at Stanford, Menlo College, where I actually met Coach, including 3 seasons as head coach, the Oakland Raiders, the San Jose SaberCats, to name a few. Fred, thanks for coming on. It's always great to talk with someone who has so much passion for the game.
Thanks, Doug. I really appreciate it. And it was a pleasure coaching you back in the Menlo days. And I always thought that you'd become a ball coach and a great mind for football. So this is awesome.
I appreciate it, Coach. I remember just how you brought the energy every day. It didn't matter what we were doing. You always brought just a professionalism. You brought energy. You always coached everybody with great detail. And you're the best nickname giver I've ever been around, right? Like, I'm sure you got nicknames for every single person in the building. So I think that's something to be remembered for.
That's a good one. That is so true. That might be on my tombstone. He had great nicknames.
It's awesome. I mean, from talking to people in this series and just hearing from them, relationships are vital, in the sport. I mean, we spend so much time away from our families and our loved ones. We spend all this time on this game. So the team essentially becomes our family, becomes a second family, and those relationships are important. So appreciate how authentic you have always been with that. So, from being a player to then transitioning to a coach, what type of mindset did you have early on as a coach when you transitioned from being a player?
What ends up happening is you still have that player mentality, and you're all fired up, and you want everybody to be like how you were. And you were probably just like them, kids you coached. You know what I'm saying? So one thing I had that you had to, and that comes with maturity as you get older in this business. And I had to scale back and scale back. I mean, I'm high octane to begin, but my octane levels have dropped, even though it's still high, but it was maybe too high early on. So you have to reel yourself in, sit back, and then you got to remember, how did you like to be coached? And I think that's the key thing when you transition from as a player, whatever level you're at, to a coach, is how did you like to be coached? And when I was at Menlo, we had Guy McIntyre. He came and coached with us. I said to Guy, he was working training camp with the 49ers. And I said, Guy, you're an all-pro. He's a Hall of Fame candidate. And I said, and you got done coaching in the end. I mean, you just got done finishing helping in camp in San Francisco. I said, picture the worst lineman that you had there times 10,000. And that's going to be the best guy at where we're at. So you got to really lower it down. And, he would demonstrate and he would be an inch off the ground, and kids were saying, if we could do that, we wouldn't be here. And so I was kind of helping mentor him into coaching, thinking about myself. Not that I was no NFL guy by no means, but my point is that you got to be able to talk to the group, and you can't, and things are never, well, when I played, no one cares about when you played. If you were an NFL guy, you're in the Hall of Fame, or you were, Joe Boschi-Galoo, on the bench. No one cares about that. They just want to know, how can you help me get better? And so I think that was the biggest the thing transitioning, was to emotionally detach yourself and be the teacher. Learn to be the teacher. And even still, all these years later, I'm still learning to be the teacher. And that's the best part about the business is I don't know everything. I'll never know everything. And if the day I think I do know everything is the day that I'm going to be in trouble as a ball coach. So it doesn't matter if you learn from a high school guy, a college guy, or a pro guy, or some guy that just comes up with an idea to make something better, easier to teach, make it more fundamentally sound, structurally sound, so you're playing fast. So there's not paralysis by analysis. So that's the thing that I think I went from that first question, that transitioned all the way through up to today.
I love that. I think that's wise, right? When you're able to realize, hey, you're no longer a player. I've seen coaches demonstrate, and I've been guilty of it. Then I realized, I'm one demonstration away from getting injured here. To me, my glory days are over, right? That's a lot of fun. In regards to bringing players on, you go through a recruiting process, and you guys think about, the types of players you need to get on your recruiting board and then fill your roster with. From a football IQ standpoint, and just knowing what they know, what types of things do you do to perhaps test somebody on their football IQ before they even get on campus?
I think it starts on either an official visit, or if you visit the school. I think the key thing, now again, remember, I'm an ST guy, so you're not going to talk, the punter's not going to know how to punt protect. He just knows how to catch a snap and get the ball off. And the kicker doesn't know what you're doing scheme-wise. He's just trying to get it in the back of the end zone. But I think for position players, okay, I think the college guys, what I think the best way to do that is to go, okay, Doug, we're recruiting you. Okay, draw me up your favorite pass play. What do you do against cover 2? What do you do against man? What about zero? Well, then who's your hot read? And you might say, well, this is what we checked you. And then you're going to do, this is my, 3 quick or 5 and sit, or whatever your drop is. Let's say if you're under center or whatever from the gun. So I think knowing that, especially at the quarterback position, and he draw everybody up. And then, given you hear the spy, whatever, F to spy, but I
Header 2 wide banana, yeah.
Yeah. John Gruden stuff. I mean, that's all West Coast stuff. But one thing that guys do is you say it, okay, Doug, say that back to me. You know what I'm saying? So I think, retention and all that, I think that's a huge thing. I think when you're in a camp situation, if you can work with the kid and it's more individual, and you show a drill and then say, okay, even if it's a cone drill, let's see if he retains what I say. Is he stepping with the wrong feet? Is he turning the wrong way? Is he not backpedaling? We should have been side shuffling. How does he retain information? And we had an offensive lineman that we had back when you could do individual workout camp deals, which was all above board in the NCAA many years ago. We had a kid out of Marin Catholic, and our line coach, it happens to be the line coach of the Minnesota Vikings now, put him through this little workout, and it was all about how do we retain? How does he retain? And the kid did outstanding. He was a four-year starter here for us, and he ended up having a shot at the Rams and UFL. My point is that how does that kid retain? I think what happens is in college football, and I'm in the weed category, we all get caught up in highlight films and oh man, he's got an offer from so-and-so. I really don't believe that. You got to get highlight film, I think, gets your foot in the door to watch his game tape. Okay. And see what he does away from the ball, how his body language is, or if you could see that. That's hard to see in tape, but scouting that person in person, really getting to know that guy, as far as football, when you talk about football IQ, and I think it carries into what kind of a person is he? Is he looking, and now, and unfortunately in the new day of rev share and NIL, is he just looking to make money? Is he looking for this to go on to, you can't predict that, because all of a sudden if Doug Brady hits it big, he's leaving Menlo and he's going up to the next level. So I get that. I think everybody wants the best for everyone, but how do you take a kid? You got to be comfortable that he's going to fit on what you're talking about. He understands, he has a passion for it. He has clear eyes when you're talking to him, right? Well, yeah, we called that guy H. You know what I'm saying? Call him what you call him. We're not trying to see if you know what I know, but that's a big thing, in offensive, defensive lineman. What technique? What do you like about this? Or how do you come out of this? Things like that. I think that's what you got to do, especially you got to get to know, see if the kid has any football IQ. And now, obviously, there's only so much you can do in high school because you're going both ways and you don't have meeting time like you do in college. So you got to keep that in consideration. But yeah, I think those are some of the things you got to really consider.
Yeah. So talking about drill mechanics, and you've spent time with Bill Williams. He's a guy that I learned a lot from over the years, and really am very thankful for that opportunity. But he always said the drills are the game. And, the drills that you're doing ought to show up in the game. And so when you're setting up your different drills on the special team side, what are some protocols you go through? Like, how do you build your drills, right? Like for quarterbacks, I like to have a decision element, a pressure element, and a distraction element, for a drill. And that's kind of like how I build my drills. How would you build your special teams drills to teach scheme?
Everything from a stance and a start to, from the ball to transition to finish. And all those drills, you could say, like from a, for example, a punt gunner standpoint. Okay, what's our stance? What's our release? Transition and phase with a jammer down the field, and how do we finish on the returner? Those are all three different types of drills. There's different drills to set that up, and then you tie that in together, and then you can go into team, and then you can run it. I believe in individual, group, and then team as far as teaching progression. So drills that, and in an ST, there's carryover for offense and defense. You could use a rip by as a defensive lineman on an interception or fumble recovery because you can't block below the waist. And conversely, even now, so with the rules are changing of non-cutting, other offensive players can also use that themselves down the field. So I always try to do things that pertain and show game clips. This is why we do this. This validates the drill, not because I said so. They want to know what, how, and why. Okay. Those are the things. What is it? How? And why are we doing this? Okay. And those things, they need to be explained because it's not like the old days of, it's because the coach said so and I'm going to do it. So bang my head 10 times on the wall and I'm going to be tougher. Well, today people are going to say, kids are going to go, well, why would you do that? How's that going to make me a better and why? So you show, this is an example of transition down the field, hand fighting with the jammer, stacking them, throwing them by. Look at this. This is how, here's a clip from the Falcons versus Chiefs. This is us at whatever school I'm coaching. This is you doing it. All right. So then the kids see that. Oh, now I know that can help me. This is why that'll help me. So that's how my thought process with drills are. And in special teams, mind you, it's not like O or D word, you had EDDs, Doug, like this is what we're doing with quarterback. We're doing CQ exchanges every day.
Yeah.
You may do one holdup, drill. I've told kids, this might be the only, we may be doing this a couple times and that's it. The rest of it, you may not have to, it might be all team stuff. So that's why you've got to be vicarious and learn by listening and taking the reps in above other people, mentally. And when you get yours, you've got to make the best of it. So you're very limited in that. So that's why you've got to keep things very simple and concise. And you've got to be clear in what you're clearly defined, what you want to be done.
Absolutely. I've been around you. I've been around some other special teams coaches that have very efficient with their time because you have to be, right? Like typically when the practice plan is being drawn up, it's being drawn up, by people who have the offense and defense in mind, right? And they're going to give you little slivers of time there and expect you to go execute and go protect against all those hidden yards that we know is vital. It's absolutely vital. Special teams is so vital. And you always used to have I'm sure you still have the saying, "We need you." Where did that saying come from? And then if you could share any other sayings that you believe in.
The old Menlo days was don't sing it, bring it. That's what we said at Menlo. But when I first came to San Jose State, as you can see this picture in 2012, I didn't know one kid on the team. So I was interviewed. Hi, Fred Guidici, coach of special teams. Hey, we need you. Doug, great to meet you. Hey, we need you. We're going to need you on special. Well, I didn't realize I was saying that. Well, then kids would see me again. Hey, we need you. And it just started like that. And it organically just exploded. And that just became who I am. And it's going hard and strong today. But it's an all in. It's all inclusive of, hey, we need you to be a part of something. We need each other. It's kind of multiple meanings. And so it kind of all encompassing for everything and everyone. So that's where that came from. I didn't say, this is what it started here at San Jose State in January of 2012. So it's been going strong ever since. And I've carried it with me to Stanford and back at Sabre. Yeah, it was fun. Anyway, kids get a kick out of it.
That's awesome. I love it. Love that story. Yeah, I remember you're saying when we were at Menlo, brings back good memories.
Yeah.
When you think about the IQ of a football team, all three phases, the people that really understand that you win in between the margins, the little small margins of victory, and that football IQ that exists on the team, how do you form that? Does it come from the top? Does it come from the head coach's values and, different reminders that a head coach brings up? Does it come from real detailed situational planning and then being able to execute, last second field goal kick? Where does football IQ come from a team standpoint?
I'll say this. Football IQ, especially out here, we have to drive it. Coaches, Warner, high school, college, pro, we have to drive it ourselves. Not everybody's a Doug Brady or a Tom Brady. You know what I'm saying? And meaning you're just so locked in. And some guys love playing football and some guys, it's their whole life, like yourself, like both you Brady guys. You know what I'm saying? And so, but for some kids, it's not. They love playing, but we have to help guide that. And the best kids at the best IQ are guys that do the extra, okay? They watch extra film. They come in and ask extra questions. They take copious notes in their meetings and they go over them. And they may watch other games on TV and they may go, hey, you know what? No. You see what I'm saying? So then I think, on our end of it, I think situational football is, you want to be situational masters at the 2-minute drill, whether you're OD and ST tied in. You don't want to have oh my God, the fire alarm went off and I don't know where to go. You just run right into a wall. You want it to be in any situation that when the alarm goes off, you know exactly where the exit is and you're walking calmly to that exit as you walk out the door instead of panicking and looking to where exit is. And that's I don't know if that analogy makes sense, because we've rehearsed the drill before the actual fire. And guess what? We may not have that fire. If it happens, we're ready for it. We're ready for it. And no one's going to get hurt. We will all safely get through this as you would be in a situation at the end of a half or end of a game. Does that make sense?
I think that was a perfect analogy, Coach. You try to plan for things that might come up. You create contingency plans. Being calm when it arises is the biggest thing. And so I think your analogy is very fitting. That's good.
A lot of things we see, if the coaches are well prepared and organized and the presentations are clear for the student athlete or professional athlete to learn, okay, and digest that, then, and as you make it fun and interesting, you know what I mean? Instead of monotonous and boring, that's where I think the IQ comes up, because they've now taken a true interest in loving what they're doing. And if you build things into, hey, we're playing for each other. And I did that at Menlo with you. I've done that everywhere, and I'm doing it today as we speak. Is everything I do is going to reflect the team. I don't want to let my brother down by being lazy and then I hold. You see what I'm saying? Or I don't study and I forget to do what to do on so-and-so play. Or I do something stupid outside of football that could get me in trouble, or I academically screw up and I'm not eligible. I'm letting my teammates down. So all that ties into what makes a great teammate. And I think having an IQ, that really helps, because you know what to do, and any situation arises, you're going to be prepared for that. And you're going to uplift your teammate, maybe carrying somebody along or tutoring and helping him, he or she, as, whatever situation or whatever play arises.
Absolutely. Today's episode is presented by American Football IQ. One of the biggest challenges coaches face right now is this. Players are seeing more football than ever, but they are not always learning how to understand the game in full context. They watch clips, they see highlights, but they don't always learn how to recognize coverage, identify fronts, understand leverage, or connect what is happening before and after the snap. That is why tools that help teach football IQ matter. American Football IQ is built to help players learn the game visually through flashcards that train recognitions, coverages, fronts, protections, gap control, the kind of things players have to see faster if they want to play fast. This is not just about memorizing terms. It's about helping players recognize patterns quicker, process information faster, and play with more confidence when the ball is snapped. So whether you're coaching quarterbacks, skill guys, linemen, or just looking for a better way to teach the game, check out American Football IQ and see how they are helping players build real understanding that carries to the field. You can start with Volume 1 or get the full bundle at AmericanFootballIQ.com. There is also an online community that can be accessed on the AmericanFootballIQ.com website, where each flashcard has a video explaining it in more detail with film. Play fast. So, I've been a fan of the game for a long time. Steve Tasker was a great special teams player. Sam Ono, who's a guy who lives here in San Diego, was special teams player of the year in '89. So I've either followed or been around some good special teams players. Who are some of the best, maybe highest football IQ special teams players that you've coached throughout your career?
Oh, you just named two guys, and I know Sam really well too. He's one of the all-time my favorites. But the guy that comes to mind, Matthew Slater from the Patriots, he's only caught one ball in his career and had an 18-year special teams career. I think the other thing, it's funny you say that. In my personal career, there's always a couple guys on each team, maybe 3 or 4, and they know that's their role. And everybody has a role on the team. And I tell those guys, if you're the starting left guard on PAT field, well, you are a starter. It's your job to hold. You are a starter. You have a job. You have a role. And some guys, they may struggle to get on an O or D, or they're just a couple guys better than them. But special teams, they love it. They live for it. And they make your day. They make your job and your day a lot easier. And I don't know. I throw a name out. You want to laugh. From our Menlo days, remember Galen Perry? I don't know if you ever played with him. He's one of the few guys in my career who would not come off the field. I mean, he played defense and he was on all 4, and he was a return guy. He wanted to be a gunner. He was flying out on a kickoff. He was on KOR. He was the punter. I mean, he would not come. I go, Doug, would give him, no, I'm fine. And he was performing at a high level because he took it. That was his role on top of where he already was a starter.
Yeah. And
he had a love and a passion for it. And, you can't make those guys. Those guys make you. I'm just using somebody. I've had other guys, and I'd be missed by not saying everybody, but
sure,
there's very few guys like that. That's the one that and I know together that we have a common relationship with. But and he went through and he's coaching now in high school, I think in Las Vegas, and he hits me up for things, and I love that kid. So he'll kid grown man now, but it's just, look, I'm excited even just thinking about it.
Love it. So, thinking back to your mentors, coach, people that instilled the values and the football IQ into you, who's somebody that comes to mind, in regards to your coaches that you felt was really organized?
I've had a lot of guys going to Santa, in my old high school. I had my old high school coach, Al Matthews, who was a guy you just looked up to and respected, and he was professional, and he was a tough dude. And I just wanted to be that guy. I got to Santa Clara, and Terry Malley was really instrumental in being professional, handling things right, and, calming me down. And Ron DeMonitor was there. He was a defensive coordinator, and he came with the Menlo for a bit. But Ron was he wouldn't let me coach on defense. I had to draw everything up, and I had to regurgitate back to him. He goes, I'm not going to let you talk these guys if you can't tell me how good, and I went, that was one of the great lessons 35 years ago, getting started over there. And that I will never forget. And, and then you just, as you see guys, but those early years of those guys, and just like I said, Terry and the professionalism, Ron and the detail, Alan just how he was, just the respect he commanded. I think for all you young guys that are listening or watching, you got to be you. I wasn't trying to be anybody else. You hear about guys that are on so-and-so's tree and they're trying to act just like so-and-so. Don't do that. Doug Brady, be Doug Brady. Fred G, be Fred G. Don't try to be Ron DeMonitor, Terry Malley, then the player, and you played people see through that. Everybody goes, look at him, that's not even who he is. And then once that happens, you don't have trust factors between player and coach. Like people say, oh, this guy's just a phony. He puts on a show out there. He's trying to be so-and-so. And of course, I've been around Bill Walsh. I've been around and I'm not dropping names, but I worked for Bill Walsh at Stanford. Just last year with Frank Reich at the Stanford. Wow, what a human being. And, and being with Ken Niumatalolo now, same type of guy. Just treat people with respect. There's there's not yelling and screaming at kids, yelling and screaming at coaches. And I think when there's mutual respect, I think you get the most out of players and coaches that way. I think, coach with respect, not fear. All right. And I think it goes a lot farther. And you know what? At the end of the day, like I said, how do you want to be coached? If you didn't like that, why do you have to do that? So, coach somebody like you'd want your son to be or your daughter to be coached, or how you like to be. So that's sort of been when you talk about, again, you talk about a bunch of guys, and Bill Walsh was just the master of detail. And he used to say, just coach one thing, be the best running back coach in the country. Be the best coordinator. Well, I need to coach O-line to learn this. I need to coach D to learn. Then you're spread too thin. Of course, you want to know what's going on, but be the master of your position at your specialty. See what I'm saying? I always took from him, I thought was really good. I said, okay, and I'm going to stay an ST guy because I love it, because you coach the whole team. The DB coach doesn't know any of the alignment, or the linemen don't know him. Here, I know everybody. And I think that's just my personality too, Doug. So, and if I coach just defense, I'd be on manic all the time like I was at Santa Clara. So I think this works out so that there's, fourth downs whenever they come, or touchdowns. So there's time in between. So I get a chance to reload. And I may be missed on some, but there's just been multiple people that have, just shown me that I've led by example that I've really enjoyed. And then how not to do it. I've seen, been around guys that how not to do that. And I'm not naming names, but we've all been around it. I had guys and assistants. Like, there's no way I would want to be like that or treat anybody like that.
Well, that's good. I think the whole message earlier about being a lifelong learner, being willing to learn from people. And those are big takeaways for me. Like I think about, my time as a coach and the mistakes that I made, because I was really driven as a player, and, I felt like I transferred over to being a coach. And so it's good to hear some of these reminders from people like yourself that have been at it a long time and, have had success for a long time. So Coach, transitioning, I know you had a big life event. You've had a few big life events, since we were together, and I'm very happy for you and kind of follow from afar and just see the happiness that, that exudes, on your posts. And I know you took a trip with your wife recently over to the motherland. Tell me about that.
In 2024, we went back to Sicily and saw my relatives, and they loved my wife. That was good because that's good. And she's like, she wants to spend a lot more time back. It's good being in the Mediterranean and seeing my mom and dad's sides. It's always good to be back there. I love it there. And then we went on the mainland and did the wrong thing. She had never been there. Everybody has to go to Rome one time, like architecture and whatnot. And of course, the food is phenomenal anywhere in that country. The mainland or the island. We enjoyed that. And the greatest thing that happened in my life, I had a baby girl on the 4th of July.
Congrats.
Did it change me? I don't know if it changed me. It just, I know how people feel as parents now. That's the difference. Am I working any harder because I have a baby? No, because I've always kept the same work ethic. My dad used to say, I think you may have heard me say this at Menlo, there's nothing to do, sweep the floor. I used to hear that my whole life. But having a daughter is outstanding. It's really cool. And I met my wife in Menlo. She was student life back then. And right when I think you had gotten out, she came in 2007 and we started dating or 8 and then we started dating in 10 and got married in 16 and the baby was last year. God, so everybody's, and I was at Menlo and I kept thinking, man, I'm trying to get out of here. And then I just early on, way early, I thought it'd be a couple-year deal. And I just fell in love with the place and the kids and, then you came into the picture and, all the different coaches and then we met and one thing's led to another and God, here we are. And she's been and if you young guys that aren't married yet, heed my advice. And you want to do this business, you've got to find the right woman that understands this whole thing. If they don't, it's either going to be a short relationship or a short career. It's your decision. So that's my suggestion as far as anyone you heard that big gap between now there's age difference and all that. So I'm ... cross. More T's and I's than there are, I think, in the world. But I got them all done and it all worked out the way it's supposed to work out. So anyway, my daughter, she had a picture with the axe last year after we beat Cal, and that's one of my better days in life. And she's been to practice at San Jose State. Let me see it. Let me see if I can show you guys that. You get the biggest kick out of that. So yeah, that's what's been going on with me personally. So it's all good.
Love it, Coach. That's awesome. That's a big deal. I think, for me, traveling all over the country and, really once I got a job, I'd pack my vehicle and whatever didn't fit was going to be sold or thrown away. And, you just make football your whole life and, you lock in on that work but, some really good advice. I'm happy for you.
Yeah, we're trying to get through the crowd and she wasn't crying until we got to the axe. But, it's funny. I had told the players last year in the very first special team spring meeting, and I said, and my wife's pregnant, we're going to have a baby girl and we're going to get a picture next to the axe. So I put it out there.
Amen.
And they made it happen.
Let's go.
And so anyway, it was one of the better days. And the thing I love about what I've done in my career is I've had family and friends enjoy. I love that they get a chance to enjoy and be a part of all this at every place I've ever been. And so that's been a really good thing to me. That's what I get the most out of is not just coaching the kids, but the people, the loved ones and friends around me that they get a chance to enjoy and experience what I'm experiencing. And so whether they can get there or not, I always appreciate everyone's support and love through this journey. That's been I wouldn't call it a labor of love. There's no labor in it. It's just love, man. This is really cool. And I appreciate and I'm grateful for everything and everybody that's given me these opportunities. And, meet guys like yourself. And to me, you never forget the players. Once we think it's about us and our ego, too many guys that think that way, that I'm smarter than everybody else. I'm telling you right now, I had Tyler Erdogan as a returner here, and he made me look like I knew what I was doing. I had this guy, Keith Smith, right here. He ended up playing in the NFL for like 8 years. Those are the guys. It's all about the players. So yeah, recruiting is a big part of the deal, but you want to put them in the best position as possible. Not saying that any dummy could throw anybody out there, but when those guys buy into what you're saying, on whatever position you coach, they're going to go through the wall for you. Again, that's trust factors, getting to know the person, knowing that you have their back, knowing you're getting on them for a good reason, holding them accountable, okay? But at the same time, loving them up and knowing, hey, man, I got you on or off the field. And relationships never end. Because you've graduated doesn't end the tie. It's just, we'll see you. Call me if you need me, or I'll talk to you soon.
You've always been like that for me. I mean, let's say you got me the job at Stanford. I made a lot of good relationships there in a short period of time. Any time that I've ever called, you've always called me back and always messaged me back. So I know when you say that, you mean that. And, I was there for a short period of time at Menlo, and you've treated me very well. So I appreciate you, Coach. And thanks so much for coming on. And I look forward to staying in touch, man, and following the Spartans this year. And best of luck to you.
Appreciate you. Love being on this thing, and let's do it again.
Thanks for joining us for Football IQ presented by American Football IQ. If you want to help your players see the game better, think faster, and understand more, go check out American Football IQ and what they're building for players, coaches, and parents. That's at AmericanFootballIQ.com or click the link in the description. Follow all we're doing at Coach and Coordinator Network and follow us on X at Coach K. Grabowski.
Did you know if your windows are bare, indoor temperatures can go up 20 degrees? Turn the temperature down with Blinds.com and get up to 50% off custom window treatments like solar roller shades and more during the Memorial Day mega sale. Whether you want to DIY it or have a pro handle everything, we've got you. Free samples, real design experts, and zero pressure. Just help when you need it. This is your last chance to shop up to 50% off site-wide during the Memorial Day mega sale at Blinds.com. Rules and restrictions apply.